As you can imagine, all the reaction in the UK was about that late controversial penalty that was awarded, that Kylian Mbappe, of course, converted to see Newcastle in the end draw 1-1 against PSG. Don, obviously born in Newcastle. Newcastle is one of the many teams that you support. I saw you putting out today, has football ever been so broken? Oh. Come on, Don, it's not that bad.
Of course it is.
We've seen,
talk about
when you were playing, there were no refereeing issues, no problems.
I've heard talk today about sin bins. I've heard talk today about penalties that are hitting arms that are never penalties in a million years. I'm talking about referees and IFAB and FIFA not understanding how an athlete needs his or her arms to run. So when Livramento needs to change pace and he starts his running off and he starts to run like an athlete with his arms and with his legs, and it hits his chest and it hits his arm, and the referee, who was a very, very good referee, knew it wasn't a penalty. Then VAR told him to go to the monitor. There were 70,000 fans inside the stadium. He stood there and he bottled it because he knows in his heart of hearts this is not a penalty. So he got convinced by all the players around him. He got convinced by the crowd paying for a penalty. It was in the last minute of the game, and he bottled it. For a very good, experienced referee, the decision was a shambles.
But he's not the first referee in the history of the world to bottle it in a big game, is he? This is nothing new.
Because, Dan, no one knows what the handball law is anymore. We know what it is in black and white, but there's context to a handball. You know, I've seen Stephanie Frappart tonight, who was the ref in the Bayern game, and she blew for a penalty. She went to the monitor in the last 5 minutes of the game, realised it wasn't a penalty, stood there and went, no penalty. More or less exactly the same. Hit the player sort of just under his arm, hit the sort of ribs, and she knew it wasn't a penalty.
But she awarded the penalty in the first place. It was only because VAR sent her to the monitor that helped her change her mind.
But then she had the courage of her convictions to stand there once she's been sent to the monitor and went, that's not a penalty, I'm not giving that.
Yeah, because that's because, Don, she knew her colleagues were already on a different page to her original decision. So that made it a lot easier. I agree with you. The referee, the Polish referee last night, and this is not for me because it's Newcastle or an English club. It could be a German or Spanish, Italian. It's the frustration now of these decisions across the board. Now, the VAR operative in that Newcastle game in Paris has been taken off.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they're supposed to be working the game today.
Right. All he did, rightly or wrongly, was suggest the referee go and have a look. The buck stops here with the guy that refereed the World Cup final. Now, we're talking about having the bottle. He should have went across there and not have been persuaded by the fact he was asked to go to the monitor and just stuck with his decision that was on the field, which was no penalty kick. But all these directives and laws and IFAB are changing and all this. It's just taking it too far. But you know, the Havertz one tonight that wasn't given. It was more a penalty than Livramento. We have the one that the lady refereed changed her mind, and then we had the one last night, and that's just in 24 hours. It's getting ridiculous.
And the McTominay.
Yeah, McTominay
in the Manchester United game, that was far more of a penalty than any of the ones that we've just discussed, in which his arm actually goes towards the ball, and that one wasn't even looked at. That one wasn't checked. So, look, we talk about VAR as somehow being the problem. It still comes down to individuals, and in this case, Marciniak, the referee in the PSG game, that you just mentioned, World Cup final referee, so a guy with plenty of experience, with plenty of big moments, he is then given the responsibility to say, hey, which is what we have asked, have the referee make the decision. He made his decision, he should have then backed himself. He didn't, but he's still an individual making a decision after he looks at the screen. So while we like to get our arms up in the air because of VAR, again, it's still the referee making the decision after he sees the replay, and he had doubt over his own decision. He changed his mind. He wasn't forced by anybody to do so. He did it himself.
I mean, across the board, people are burying their head here in the sand. Take the McTominay one tonight, right? UEFA, who clearly off the back of that, some delegates must have been in the trucks and said, token, gesture, replay, and move on from the McTominay. The McTominay one we should have saw from every angle. The referee should have been sent to the monitor, right? But as a viewer, we should have seen that.
We only got one angle.
We got one angle. Because clearly UEFA are going, oh, it's been a messy couple of days. Right, let's just forget, sing a song, whistle, forget about it. We've got a token gesture of an angle. I mean, we're talking about Champions League, group stage, qualification, millions of dollars, pressures on managers, sacking managers, all that comes with it. And they want to bury it and give you a token replay because referees can't handle it and make the right decisions. Right. That tells you where we are in the game. It's referees are making mistakes, and people that make the laws and governing bodies are trying to bury it. Every time there's a bad decision, let's just bury that one out of the way.
Don, obviously, as Craig mentioned, they suspended the VAR operator, or stood him down for today. Did they stand down the wrong person?
Yeah, I should have stood down the ref, because I actually think the process, when the referee can't see everything on the pitch, I think he trusted his experience in real time, but they can't see everything in real time. So I think the process from the VAR operative telling the referee, you might have missed something, go and see it for yourself, I think that's the right process. I just feel when the referee went over there, I think he was trying to find something that wasn't there, and I think he got pressured. I think he got pressured into making that call because it was in Paris in the last minute and everyone was shouting from the rooftops for a penalty. And he tried to find something. He tried to find a penalty that was never there. And Craig, and I think Ali are right. I think what we've seen over the last 24 hours is we're seeing severe inconsistency. We've seen so many penalty claims tonight. And not a downer on Man United whatsoever, but the clearest penalty out of everything I've seen regarding handballs was the Scott McTominay one tonight. That was a player making himself bigger, whereas if you look at Tino Livramento, this is a player who was running, and this is the crux of it. You can look at all the laws that you like, but the crux of it is, was he making himself, or sorry, did he put his hands or arms in an unnatural position? Well, the answer is no, because an athlete needs his arms to run, so he was running with his arms in a natural position, and the referee should have saw that.